Good morning. Let's see how much of a vision we have. It will be a tough call after this amazing inspirational speech, but this is more, will feel familiar to you, like one bureaucrat speaking to bureaucrats. And I wanted to give you a bit of an overview, because the EU is sometimes a bit of an enigma, you know, and you would wonder what do they have to do with public administration? I mean, they give us lots of rules and everything. So let's dive into this, and maybe I can enlighten you a bit. Some of it will be a little bit Chinese, a lot of acronyms. So it's a little bit of a language lesson. So I hope to. I'm just seeing if this clicks all right. I'm not sure I'm clicking the right thing here. Nothing clicks. Ah, now. Okay, it takes some time. So where do I come from? So we have a recently created task force for reforms and investments. It's a presidential task force, so the Germans of you might know there's President Ursula von der Leyen of the European Commission, so we work directly for her. And principally, we manage 2 EU programs. One is called the Technical Support Instrument, that has a budget of about 860 million euros. And what we do with that, we support reforms in member states, and it's actually a beautiful service that we provide. We get requests for reforms following annual calls, and then we select the best reform projects and we implement them. So at the moment, more than 100 projects that my unit manages to make administration a more attractive employer, to improve procurement, to fight corruption, a lot of digitalization, AI, data management, rule of law, improving the judiciary. So normally I give a talk only about the TSI, but I want to give you an overview of everything, so just skimming a bit the surface. But I invite you on everything to click the links or go into to the internet and have a look what is the technical support instrument. Now, we were just merged with another unit that implements the Recovery and Resilience Facility. So I'm not sure how much you're familiar with that term, but that's the big bucks. So I told you 860 million, you might think that's a lot. They have 649 billion, Milliarden, yeah? And out of that, only less than half was actually spent, so there's another year this program runs. This was the initiative of the EU for the post-COVID recovery. And we are fostering reforms and investments, and this is really quite interesting to observe, because you might say, wow, it's got such a great injection of money that will set Europe alight for the future. But the reality is we're actually so bad at managing money and actually managing investments. It's really, really challenging to actually spend that money. So the problem is not always the money. So this is principally what we do, and that's, let's say, the day job. I'm clicking again. But I'm focusing on this. And then you might say, okay, public administration and governance, why is the EU interested in this? And then if you read the news, you will see it's all now about EU competitiveness. And if you look at competitiveness and you ask, what is actually Europe's biggest industry? And in all European countries, the state is the biggest industry, with about 40% to half of the gross domestic product of a country. So obviously, the quality and productivity of this industry matters hugely for the competitiveness of Europe. And then it's very good making nice policies and legislation on European level, but without the member states' administration on national, regional, local level to implement those policies and legislation. So we just heard from the colleagues in Finland, 70% of legislation in Finland comes from the EU. and in most countries it will be more than half of your legislation. And there's a massive challenge to actually implement this. So basically, without well-functioning administration in the member states, the EU does not work. So that's why we really care about this. On top of it all, the state is a very big spender. You know, public procurement is on average more than 20% in member states. And how we spend that money and how innovative, efficient, and effective this is matters hugely. That's why we care about this. And so I told you my day job is to implement these massive programs, and then sort of the hobby is actually try to put a policy framework together and be useful to you and add some value. So hopefully you will say, oh, EU is actually quite useful. And how do you run a policy when public administration and governance is not an EU policy? Yeah, we are not allowed to tell member states how to run their country. It's up to you. But so we basically try to foster managing knowledge, mutual learning, and also achieve some synergies. You know, it was said before, we all have more or less the same problems. So if we support a reform in one country, other countries can learn from this. We have many multi-country projects. I just manage a project on risk and resilience of critical infrastructure with Ireland, Finland, and Estonia. The Swedes and the Danes are joining us on this because they all face the same problems or similar problems. They learn from each other, and this is hugely popular. Now, I told you we are not telling you what to do, but we do some kind of annual diagnosis, and I told you it's about, you know, speaking Chinese. We call this the European semester. I don't know if you're familiar with this term. So the European semester is an annual diagnosis of how healthy the country is, and we do this in all member states. So it's like your annual doctor's check, and within this, there's always a very important part of public administration, because public administration is really the engine that makes a country work. Then the other thing we would like to advance is to understand better on a European level. You know, our advantage is we have a nice sort of bird's eye perspective. How do countries' administrations actually work? And we have something called the UPAC, and that's another acronym that I actually invented, and it stands for European Public Administration Knowledge. Yeah, and you can Google UPAC and you find lots of reports. What are reform dynamics and reform trends in every European country? We do some nice thematic analysis, for example, municipal cooperation or quality of policy making, and so on. And we have, in addition to this country knowledge, we try to put together thematic knowledge. You know, how to run a country, and we call it the Quality of Public Administration Toolbox. So this is really our Bible. You know, you just need to read this and you will run the perfect country. It has more than 300 inspiring examples. We don't call them best practices because we are totally aware that there is no best practice. There's good practice, but it always works in a certain context, your social, economic, political context. So you can be inspired, but you have to apply that in every context. And the toolbox, hopefully by next week, will be online. So far, the toolbox has been a report with 1,000 pages or so. So it's a bit of a heavy read. It's actually a beautiful read because it's nicely structured. But we'll bring the toolbox online, and hopefully we'll make it more dynamic. It will grow, and we bring more examples, really help the learning together. And then, what else can I tell you? Well, what is really important is having a dialogue and exchange with the member states. So we have an expert group. Some of the expert group colleagues are here. and we exchange knowledge, share good practice, and so on. The EPSA acronym, I don't know whether you have actually been part of this. It relates a lot to this event. It's the European Public Sector Award, run by the European Institute of Public Administration, based in Maastricht, and we sponsor that event. And time is up. Okay, there we go. So very, very little. I will just show you one more. Yeah? Get a bit more? So, because you also asked me, you know, what are you trying to promote? So a little bit of an insight what we are discussing with the expert group, and that's really about data-driven public administration. Now, that's a big word. It might mean a lot of things to many people, but you know, we get asked a lot about AI, and we say, hold on, to get AI ready, you actually need to organize your data, because without data and quality information, you get shitty AI or no AI. So and this is hugely important. If you see public administration as an organism, yeah, it's basically the data is the blood running to your veins. So if you get blockages, you get a heart attack, and this is what we see a lot. Not only, but we are not even at the stage to have the blood in the veins. It's like all over the place, or it's not even blood yet. So this is really something where you can, if you know, we talk a lot about citizen-centric services and so on, but this has to be the future. So no more documents, filling in, reusing data. And I want to finish with a little anecdote. So I live in Brussels, and I had to get a new passport. So after 10 years, and I saw it ran out. I went there, I applied to get an appointment. I got one after 6 weeks in the German embassy, and then I missed it for another appointment. The next one, it took me 2 months. And then I had to fill out a form and so on. And then eventually I went there. The lady at the counter, that's somebody else pressing. No, don't worry, just ignore that. I'm just going to finish my story. And the lady at the counter was the same lady that sat there 10 years earlier. So I thought that was quite charming, you know? And she said, oh yeah, you filled in the form, very good. And then on her computer, I saw she had all my data from 10 years ago, you know? And I thought, that's interesting. She's just asking me this again. I don't know if you heard about this principle, the once-only principle. You know, that's what we're trying to promote. So I give her the same data that she already has, and then I was just thinking, well, and then I need another appointment to pick it up and stuff. And it was actually quite charming, but I thought, hold on, my bank, if I need a new bank card, they write to me, said, oh, your new bank card is ready, here it is. So how come we don't have it for my passport? Why don't I get a message saying, oh, your passport is running out, would you like a new one? Oh, yes, please, click here. And then here's the data we have from you. Has anything changed? No, thank you. And then, oh, you got a bit older. Here's upload a recent picture. Oh, that looks good. Thank you very much. We send you your passport. Oh, pick it up here because it's safe. So, you know, it's all about attitude. Why do I have to go and fill in the forms all the time? So this is just a small thing. And I really hope I can talk to you for hours, so it's good you're stopping me, but I'm very happy to continue that discussion. So Europe is your partner. We're here to help you. Check out our websites. Just put EU Public Administration and see how we help you. Thank you very much.